she just had this amazing idea that I wanted to share with y'all. Let me hear what y'all think. So listen. We've looked at horror short films, horror TikToks, but have we ever looked at horror reels? Stay with me now.
That shit is a 2-pack of ass.
Okay. This is interesting. Oh, what the fuck? Why? Why would you just turn around when you know this Bigfoot ass nigga's right in front of you? Well, he got dreads? This is not very nonchalant dreadhead of him. Hold on. TikTok may have some competition. This might be up there with it. I'm not gonna lie. All right, move on to the next video. We have one called Never Go to the Deep Web. Yeah, I need to know. Hold on, let me come my light real quick. Turn it down.
I was 26 years old, and I was unemployed. Feeling unfulfilled by the monotony of a job life, I decided I would try my hand at working from home. So my days and nights comprised me of surfing the internet for any jobs I could get. I was a big procrastinator, so more often than not I'd stray away and waste time doing other things.
That's how I am.
One day, I came across talk about the deep web while on Reddit. I felt amused by the people talking about it as if it was something so scary, and decided I'd look into it.
I would have done it like it really
was stupid of me to go on it in the first place, but I made it even sillier by deciding to check it out late at night. It was about 2 a.m. and I came across a website where you could chat with someone anonymously. The person I got was a woman. She was in her early 20s and very pretty. She sat with her head in her hands, looking playful into the webcam while batting her eyes. I had no desire to turn my camera on and started our chat, thinking that while I didn't come across anything scary, I could befriend this pretty girl. It sounded like a better deal anyway. She told me to turn the camera on, but I ignored that request and tried to get her to talk. She finally did after some prodding, but I noticed how guarded she was. I also noticed how after every message I sent, her eyes would look off camera, either to her side or somewhere behind her computer. After a while, it started getting annoying, so I asked her if someone else was there with her.
Are you trying to get her like?
She said. Up until now, I'd been chatting while she'd answered my questions verbally. I'm not that curious.
I think they like trying to get her to
Don't
say
be
something.
scared.
She said, laughing, this time looking behind the laptop again and making a face that seemed to indicate she was laughing at my expense, with someone else. This is getting boring.
They're trying to set you up, bruh.
Just talking to you.
That's because you're not. You're talking to all of us.
Who else is there?
All of
Turn
it.
your camera on.
Is this a joke?
Turn it on.
Okay, I'll be leaving now.
Turn on the camera.
Her laughter was almost piercing by now. There was nothing humorous about the situation, yet she threw her head back with riotous laughter. I'd had
like, nah, you gonna turn on this motherfucking camera
to turn the chat box off when I saw the cursor had jammed. The only thing that was working was the chat box, and I still had access to the keyboard.
Turn the camera on, sweetie.
Her gumdrop-filled voice was louder than before.
Hold that for that
I moved
motherfucker.
my gaze up to see her smiling toothfully at the camera. Her face still beautiful, but the smile completely fake. My computer's crashed. I can't see the screen. Sorry. I lied. I didn't want her to know I had no option but to chat. Her screen flashed before going blank. There was nothing there but a black screen. I felt relieved, thinking that at least I didn't need to talk to her while I tried to figure out what happened to the screen. Just then, a chat message popped up.
Open the damn camera, you...
The aggressiveness in the message frightened me. Now, the fact that I couldn't see her face while she typed this made me feel nervous. I didn't dare reply back, but then the cursor moved. I watched shell-shocked as the cursor twirled around the screen.
Open
Put
the
your
camera
camera down,
now.
bruh.
I still didn't make a move. There was no way anything good would be waiting
Well,
for me if
cover
I
it.
did what she asked. The screen began flickering, as if a virus was causing the computer to writhe in agony.
Do you want me to find you?
My heart raced.
You can literally just
Could
unclip
it
it,
be
bruh.
possible she knew where I was? I started typing. Please stop bothering me.
Then turn on the fucking camera.
At this point, I thought she was some kind of sadist who got her kicks by scaring unassuming people in chat rooms. So I obliged and turned the webcam on. I saw my frightened face staring into the screen. Judging by my
Why?
face, my attempts at looking tough were painfully unsuccessful. I asked around for the girl looking straight into the camera, telling her I did what she wanted and to stop hacking into my computer. There were several seconds of silence. I kept my stare directed to the little box that showed her camera feed, but it was pitch black. I motioned into the camera in confusion, feeling as if she was messing with me now. Then I saw another message.
Look here.
After a few seconds of staring at those words, I looked back at her camera, but my computer instantly malfunctioned, and I received another message.
Look here. Don't look up.
The chat was filled with nonsensical gibberish. She typed with such ferocious speed, my screen whirled away with her constant messages. I couldn't understand what was going on, but I didn't look up. My patience ran thin, and I wrote back, "What is this supposed to mean?" Her response came. I read only the letters in bold and shuddered. I looked back into her webcam and I fell back into my chair, my eyes widening. She was back there, only her face looked completely demented.
Oh,
She had a savage expression, devoid of emotion. Her eyes were almost popping out of their sockets, and she was huffing as if she had extreme amounts of
breathing like a
pent-up
fat
rage.
nigga.
The way she looked directly into the camera made me feel
Oh.
she despised me with all of her being. There was no amusement there anymore. The camera went
She's
blank
touching
again,
her eye like that.
and the chat popped up.
Bro, my dumb ass would have
My
like
heart
this.
stopped
I was
again.
like, yeah.
For a split second, there had been the same blackness, only for the lights to come back on. She wasn't alone anymore. There was a man next to her with a black mask on. He made no movements other than look into the camera like the girl. The girl's neck creaked to her side. It looked like it was causing her pain, and then the lights went out again. The chat resumed. This time, I screamed in fright and fell off my chair. There was another man with them now. He was standing next to the girl with the original one on the other side. This man had the same mask on, but his hands were grasping the girl's shoulders.
Gripping
Even
the
with the
fuck out of her
subpar
shoulder
quality of
blades.
the webcam, I could see the force with which the man dug his hands into the girl. It looked like he could rip her in two.
Yo, this is
The
kinky.
girl, however, had a huge grin on her face. Her eyes were mad with glee, or so it looked. Her teeth were perfectly lined up as her mouth spread into that toothy grin, but I could see she was in pain. Even with the smallest sign of her smile fading, the man clenched his hands even tighter than before, which made her smile even wider. All three of them were shaking, as if it was extremely cold where they were. After a couple seconds, I realized they were shuddering, like trying to hold back laughter.
What are you laughing at?
I yelled into the screen. They didn't answer, and continued to tremor with concealed
Yo, if they started
hilarity.
busting out laughing, I was
What
like, that's
is so
fucked
damn
up.
funny?
I bellowed. They stopped shaking. Within a couple seconds, the screen went black again. When it turned back on, the man no longer grasped the girl's shoulder.
That's fucking
Neither
insane.
was she smiling. All three pointed into the camera. Upon a closer look, I understood that they weren't pointing at me. They were pointing behind me. I didn't need to look back. I could see myself in the webcam. There was someone peeking from behind me. It was another man in a mask, and according to what I saw on my webcam, he was with me in my room, right behind me. I turned around quickly, but saw nothing where I had seen him in the webcam. I turned back towards the screen and to my bewilderment, saw a third man in the girl's chat box.
Oh, this is kinky.
It was the same man I had just seen standing in my room. Now, all three had their hands on the girl and were gripping tight. The girl wasn't laughing anymore. She had a look of utter devastation. A tear was dropping from her eye, but it wasn't just a tear. It was blood trickling down her eye socket. She then mouthed the words, "Help me," and the next second she screamed as if her lungs were being ripped off as the screen went black. I immediately got up and pulled the plug out of my computer and backed out of the room. For a couple seconds, I swear I heard her screams even though the computer was unplugged. The room went quiet, but I was too devastated to stay there and ran out of my house despite it being 3 a.m. I caught a cab and went over to my friends, who had to talk me down for an hour before I could be calmed. I returned back to my house with my friend a day later. Everything was the same, and after thoroughly checking around the house, we concluded that there was no one there, nor was there a sign of anyone ever having broken in. I've never gone back to the deep web. My friend suggested it might have been some prank by computer hackers, but the way that girl shrieked, the terror she had on her face, it convinced me she had been a victim herself. I'd wondered if I had stayed on for longer, if I would have become a victim too. Could those men have found me? Was there really someone in the room with me? There was nothing I could do, because there was nothing concrete to report to the police. What I did do was throw the computer out and buy a new one. There was no way I could even open it back up after what happened.
Yo. Wow. That's crazy. Yo. The crazy thing is, when I used to watch Corey actually reacting to a video just like this, I think it was literally by the same guy. His content is amazing. I'm telling you. Now, 2017, I think it was when he was making content. Amazing. That's all I can say. Just scrolling on here for a while, like, it's low-key impossible to find anything scary on fucking Instagram unless it's like a cosplay. It's just funny shit. Like, Instagram Reels is not really for that. The only partially good one that I could find was, what was your craziest ghost encounter? And me personally, I do and I don't believe in ghosts. I believe there's a way they can be possible. I just don't believe like the way TV and media paints them as they're just aggressive as fuck. I just feel like, why would your own family want to fucking kill you if they were a ghost? Me personally, I also watch Beetlejuice, so I don't know. All right, the first one we have is my mom moved us into a new home. She was in the living room trying to hook the cable up, and I was in her room roughly 10 feet away. She kept asking me to turn on the TV to see if it was connected, but every time I turned it on, it was just loud static. When I turned on the TV after another unsuccessful attempt, there was a large, solid black human-like figure standing behind me in the reflection of the TV. I was facing only the entrance, and I was 100% alone in that room. It was the middle of the day, but all of our curtains were closed, so it was a reflection from the outside. I ran like hell when I told my mom. She didn't believe me. My brother and I consistently had experiences over the many years we lived there. Every single night, you would hear and feel someone running back and forth down the hallway. My brother and I were across the hall from each other, but we were on the opposite sides of the house. From my mom behind a closed door with our only pet, a dog. Rest in peace. I'm so sorry. So many nights we both look out our doors at the same time to see if it was the other person, but nothing. We learned to live with it as it never stopped. Another time in broad daylight, I watched my dog walk into a room we used as storage in the same hallway. I laughed and went down the hall to get him, saying something like, "Silly boy, you can't go in there," but when I turned into the room, it was empty. I was super weirded out because I watched my entire dog walk in. When I got back down the hallway, I then see my dog through our glass door fast asleep on the patio. There was no exit point from that room except a window that wouldn't really open, so it stayed closed and locked. I have so many other stories, but when my brother and I moved out, my mom finally agreed that the house was haunted. She woke up in her room to a dark human-like figure standing over her. When she turned the lamp on, her nightstand on, and it was gone. What the fuck? Yo. Did your dog ever react to any of the weird stuff? He would stare in empty doorways or in corners of the living room with nothing there. He was a very protective dog. He would occasionally grab my pants by the ankle or my hand and pull me out of certain rooms for seemingly no reason. He spent every night with my mom in her room, so I never saw him react to any nightly occurrences. Yo, that is so fucking creepy. I think the only like haunting or like ghost experience I've had was like my dad came in my room and he was like, yo, did you hear that? It's usually always somebody in my house that's like, yo, did you hear that? And like, usually I never heard it. But my dad came in my room one time. He was like, yo, you hear that? He was like, somebody said, I'm cold. And I was like, what? He's like, he heard somebody just like whisper in his ear. And he was like the only person in his room. Because I like, right before I came in mine, I passed his, I closed my door, and then he came in my room. He's like, yo, did you hear that? I'm like, what? Hey, tripping, boy. Thank y'all so much for even clicking on this video. Y'all have no amount of meaning of how much this means to me. I really do appreciate it so much. But hopefully you have an amazing night. Hopefully none gets you. I apologize. I didn't mean to scare you. Hopefully you can sleep well tonight and you ain't hide too much in the comments. But I love you. Peace.
Crazy.